You're tuned in to the TRB Morning Drive, where we kickstart your day with a dose of freedom, firearms, and just the right amount of fun. Now grab your favorite liquid caffeine fix and buckle up. It's time to get this show on the road. Here's your host, Jason Schaller.
Good morning. Today is July 24th, 2025. And today is Happy Cousin's Day. Yeah, it's Cousin's Day, Rogue Nation. This is a sacred holiday where we salute the one person in your family tree that's most likely to say, "Don't worry, I've done this before." It usually happens right before things go sideways. Look, cousins were the original crash test dummies of our childhood. And today's show is kind of like your cousin Kenny's dirt bike stunt. It's reckless, loud, but strangely informative. Welcome to the morning drive where firearms, freedom, and a little bit of frustration collides. Coming up today, we have the moral trap disguised as a question, a lawsuit that could upend federal gun policy, military sidearm that, well, may have gone rogue, and a polite British guy asking us to disarm because, well, he just did. But before we get to it, let's get into the Rogue Nation trivia. Which handgun tested by the U.S. military literally exploded during trials? And no, we're not talking about the P320 or the M17. Stick around for the answer because that's at the end of the show. Look, I love going out to Quora. It's so much fun to go out there to watch the trolls. And I dug up this little gem here. Why don't gun owners realize their property is less valuable than human life? That's the thing. Gun owners already do value life. That's why we own guns. It's to defend it. But the question isn't really about values. It's about manipulation. It says if you defend your home, you must worship your flat screen TV more than your family. And that's crap. Property isn't just stuff. It's time, sweat, and sacrifice. You know, excuse me, that rifle in your safe, that's weekends of drywall side jobs. It's skipping dinners out. It's passing a background check and in some states, waiting 10 days. And then still showing up with that gun to train for proficiency, for safety, for fun. So when someone kicks in your door at 2 a.m., they've decided their opportunity matters more than your existence. So that's why we own guns. It's not because we value property more than life. We value life more than anything else. So we got a couple of headlines here. We have on July 22nd, the DOJ proposes firearms rights restoration and this means millions may regain rights post-Bruin. On July 15th, the GOA sues the Postal Service over a 1927 handgun mailing ban. Yeah, that's been since 1927. Courts uphold a gun ban for marijuana users, but leaves the door open for future challenges. July 20th, the DOJ launches the Second Amendment Task Force. Now, we've heard of this one coming. Well, they're actually launching it. And July 22nd, the Air Force pulls the SIG M18 pistols after an uncommanded discharge. Now they didn't pull all M18s, but they've got some things going on there. Hey, we have Warsaw Patriot out there watching in on YouTube. Man, good morning, brother. How's it going? So from federal courts to everything, it's been crazy over the past week. So let's break down a couple of things here. Let's break down the stories. And so the Department of Justice released this proposed rule. Now, here's the thing. You know how I feel about rules. Rules they change from whoever's president, right? So it's a rule which would allow individuals previously prohibited from possessing firearms to petition for their rights to be restored under 18 USC 925C. This is a major shift from decades of blanket disqualifications. What's big here is it's in this post-Bruin tone. The DOJ suddenly is interested in our rights again. It's kind of funny. Now, this is a case-by-case evaluation of whether someone possesses a risk to public safety. So it's not like a blanket thing, but it's something for some people to get their rights back. The rule is 48 pages long, and yes, it reads like it came from the government, and it's 48 pages long. But it's buried in the details of a massive acknowledgement. Not every prohibition is constitutional anymore. The Second Amendment Foundation called this a win for non-violent citizens who've paid their dues. Now think about that. Even the federal government is quietly admitting that gun bans may not survive legal scrutiny. Big thing going on out there. Warsaw says it's getting over a cold. Otherwise, I'm all right. Yeah, man. You know what? That's been going around. I know a few people at my day job that have been getting sick lately, and man, I hope you're getting over that, man. Now we have the GOA sues USPS over handgun mailing bans. GOA filed this lawsuit over this law from 1927. It makes it illegal for civilians to mail handguns. Now, look, I was an FFL, and this is the thing here. It used to be cheaper for me to mail guns for people, even paying a transfer fee, than for them to mail those guns, because I could ship postal service, because I could ship priority mail. You can still ship long guns by yourself, but when it gets down to handguns, it got really kind of weird, right? So people used to come to me because I could ship a handgun even by paying a $20 fee for me to do an outbound transfer. So this lawsuit is trying to overturn that, where people can ship guns through the Postal Service. So the plaintiff is a Pennsylvania woman who wanted to send a legally owned pistol to a family member, and the Postal Service said no. The lawsuit that got filed says that's unconstitutional. Now, I've got some mixed feelings about this, right? Because you cannot ship a firearm, well, at least across state lines, to someone, right? Someone other than yourself. So we got some issues here. We don't know I don't know the full details of this one. We need to be a little bit careful here, but I agree. This handgun shipping ban is crap. The GOA's argument is that there's no founding era equivalent to a postal handgun ban. So it fails the Bruin test. This is another example of using Bruin to challenge long-standing but historically unsupported regulations. Look, that law going back to the 1927 kind of sounds a little bit like a certain law that put tax stamps onto things. Just saying. So if this fails, we open the door to easier, or if this falls, not fails. If this falls, we open the door to easier lawful gun transfers between family members, collectors, individuals in different states, even to FFLs. This is a good one. I like this one. I really want to see that. As Warsaw was talking earlier, he says, yes, that's interstate commerce. The theory, by theory, they could also challenge the 1934 clause that the interstate commerce issue and tax alone under Bruin. Yes, the 1934 NFA. That's exactly what I was talking about, brother. This was the precursor to the NFA. So he's absolutely right there. So on July 17th, we had the court upholds marijuana gun ban, but leaves the door open to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals to upheld. Sorry, I'm like having a hard time this morning. To upheld the federal ban that prohibits marijuana users from owning firearms under 18 USC 922 G3. I love reading all these wonderful law things. Not really. But here's the twist. While the court said the law is factually constitutional, it also said that in certain individual cases, there might be room for a challenge. When you think about this, isn't this exactly what got Hunter Biden in trouble for lying on the form? Because he was he was a drug user and he said no on the form. What does this matter? Because it cracks open a door for future wins. In states where marijuana is legal. Now remember, even though your state said that it's legal, it's illegal federally. We could see individual cases where people successfully argue for their right of self-defense shouldn't be stripped away for smoking a joint. This isn't the final battle, but it's a positioning move. It's the kind that matters when momentum builds. However you feel about marijuana use, pro, against, impartial, look, really, if we want to fight this fight, we really want to fight it at the federal level and just say, hey, look, if we're gonna if smoking a joint doesn't preclude you from owning a firearm, well, then why is it a law anyway? Why is it illegal? Think about that when we're thinking about these little things. This is how they slowly, take away some of these rights. The question is if they overturn this, what does that mean for people who have been, have had like this in their past, right? Do they suddenly just get it back, or do they now have to petition? We need to be careful here. If they're going to restore rights, they got to do it to the point where it just happens, right? You don't have to petition for it. On July 20th, the DOJ formed Second Amendment Task Force. Look, this is good on the surface. I'm a little bit worried about this long term because, again, what happens when the office of the president changes hands again? But it's a good step forward. Is it real reform? I think it's optics, right? I think it takes the heat off, but we'll see. Time will tell. But the thing is we now have an official body whose sole purpose is to address the Second Amendment law. So this one's worth watching. Now, this one I read last night. Air Force suspends SIG M18 pistols after discharge incident. Now, this is with the U.S. Air Global Strike Command. It suspended the use of M18 pistols after one reportedly fired without the trigger being pulled. Sounding kind of familiar here? Now, look, I love my P320s, but yeah, I grounded them a while ago until they can figure out what's going on here. And they've always said that, hey, look, the M17, the M18, well, that's a little different than civilian version. Apparently not, right? This is the same pistol being fielded across the entire military as part of the modular handgun system. And now it's one of the most elite commands in the Air Force says, no, we're done. We're pulling them. They're calling it an uncommanded discharge. But it's still kind of muddy, right? This got leaked. So we have to watch for this one because now, SIG is having a hard time with fighting the civilian side. And now they're saying, it's the shooter's problem. The military version's unaffected. Now it just might be. Who knows? Let's watch this one unfold. So it's just kind of crazy thinking about all the stuff that's been going on, right? We've got a lot of stuff that's been happening lately. And I'm not sure if this is just because of a change in the executive office or not. But look, if this message is hitting a nerve, it's great. That means you're not asleep at the wheel. Now, if you want to keep it alive, here's how you can do it. First, go to trb.fyi/boombucks and toss some change into the fight. This movement doesn't run on likes and algorithm scrapes. It runs on people like you who give a damn. If that's you, lean in, don't sit back. Now, look, I know times are tough and money is short. You can also support us from free while stealing a little bit of money away from the antis. Before you hit Amazon, go to trb.fyi/az. Look, it's the same prices. You're not going to spend $1 more. But Amazon kicks a slice of that money that you spent back to here at the channel so we can continue moving forward. You get what you need and you steal from the system while you're at it. Now, look, we are locked and loaded by Aegis Gun Care. Check them out at trb.fyi/boomlube and use the magic code BOOMLUBE when it counts. And there's something special in your cart for you. Also, for my friends over here at Gideon Optics, go to trb.fyi/go, and use the special code TRB10 when it matters. And there'll be something special in that cart there for you too. These are companies that actually walk the walk when it comes to Second Amendment. Support them while you're supporting us. Now, when you're buying from Gideon or Aegis, going through my link or through the Amazon from my link, it saves you money if you use those codes, but you kick some money back and it doesn't take anything out of it. And finally, we got to grow the movement. Subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with someone who needs to, wake the hell up. Like apparently I need to do this morning. I'm having a rough one this morning. I'm not going to lie. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some caffeine hitting me a little bit later on. So let's get back to it. I got a really good WTF of the week. This one was good. Again, it came from Quora. I tell you, I love kind of looking at the Quora, the Quora trolls. And let's face it, there are trolls out there. But this is a good one. Can a pro-gun American justify their gun laws to a Brit? Why the hell do I even need to? Screw you. Deal with your own problems. Didn't we beat you back in 1776? Didn't we bail you out of a couple of wars? And now you want to lecture us on safety because their cops carry whistles? Come on. They disarmed themselves for comfort. We stayed armed because of conviction. You want your illusion for peace? Then keep it. Leave us the hell alone. We take responsibility and the risk that comes with taking that responsibility. I mean, seriously, it kills me that these trolls keep doing this stuff, but it proves the point. They don't get it. And don't get me wrong, I have nothing wrong with the Brits. They're a good ally. But leave us the hell alone on our rights and our freedoms. They're the exact reason why we have them. So, what freedoms have you quietly surrendered in the name of comfort? I want you to think about that. What would it look like to reclaim just one of these this week? Start small, speak up, and question default policies. Draw a line. Freedom isn't kept by chance, it's kept by choice. Now, this is what I want you to do this week. Hey, we got Joe from Shooting Gallery New England. He is out there on YouTube. What is happening, brother? I know he's on his commute into his job where he's helping people with their boomsticks and freedom. So this is what I want you to do this week. Rehearse something before you're challenged. Write down 3 questions you've been hit with about guns, rights, freedom, whatever. And then script your answer. Think about it. Do you really need an AR-15? Do you really want the government deciding what I don't need? Think about that. Why should the government tell me what I can own and what I can't own? If I want to own an AR-15, screw the government. That's my right to go buy it. So Warstar's Patriots in there, so I'm a little behind on the comments. Problem with England is they gave up their first also. Yes, they did. You can get, they got the whole first, the freedom of speech police out there. Like, God help it if you create a meme and you offend someone. And Canada is no different when it's the second or the first. Yes. So think of another question while we're talking about England. Hey, England is safer. But is it really? I mean, seriously, look at the violence they've got. I mean, on Tuesday, we kind of joked around about them taking away steak knives because of stabbings. Not really safer. So think of these things that you'll get challenged on. You could get challenged on. Rehearse them. Be ready for the argument. Sharpen now and speak when it counts. That's how we win. So look, we are wrapping up the show here. We're getting ready to sign in on my day job here. We got about 5 minutes left before I've got to sign in. So on Cousin's Day, we raise a glass to the reckless side of the family and the serious business of standing up for what's right. It's kind of funny. We have Cousin's Day because we don't think about that and think about all the things that we've pulled in our lifetime. And sometimes it's our cousins that were riding shotgun. Sometimes we were riding shotgun with that cousin, right? They are kind of like they're not quite like to that sibling type of trust, but sometimes it crosses that where we can get into more trouble with our cousin than we could. I mean, it's funny when I think of Cousin's Day. What I'm actually goes through my mind was was um, the movie Vacation, right? It cracked me up. I'm just thinking about the the cousin teaching the daughter how to smoke a joint, right? The other cousin teaching Rusty, the son, porn max. It's just kind of funny thinking about cousins because they're kind of the guy or the girl that's right there to teach us or to be with us when we push that line. Let's see here. Warsaw's out there because we got kids hiding katanas in their pants, fighting gangs. In England, he's talking about. Yeah, there was all kinds of crap over there. But hey, look, they feel safe because they don't have guns. So let's get back to our answer for the trivia. The gun that exploded during trials is the Savage Model 1907. It literally exploded. Colt won the contract, and we got to 1911, and history was made. So that's what we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, train, build, reclaim. You're not alone. You're part of the Rogue Nation.